If you've ever felt like more time in the gym should equal more results, but your body says otherwise, you're not alone. We've been conditioned to believe that intensity equals progress, that pain means growth, and that burnout is a badge of honor. Most people think of strength purely in terms of muscles, size, definition, hypertrophy. But true strength starts in the brain. Every powerful movement you've ever made was initiated by a signal in your nervous system. Before a single muscle fiber contracts, your brain sends an electrical message down your spinal cord, recruiting motor units with precise timing and intensity. The quality and efficiency of that signal, not just the size of the muscle, determines how much force you can generate. Force. This is why elite powerlifters can lift massive weights without looking bulky, and why new lifters can gain strength rapidly before seeing any physical change. It's not just the muscles growing, it's the nervous system becoming more efficient. It's learning to fire more motor units in better coordination at higher speeds. In fact, early strength gains during training come almost entirely from neural adaptations, not muscle growth. The body is learning how to express force, not just build it. The central nervous system is like the software that controls your hardware. If the code is slow, inefficient, or lagging, you'll never tap into your full potential, no matter how big the hardware gets. But if the code is sharp, refined, and optimized, your muscles work with precision, speed, and power. This is the science behind explosive strength. It's not about volume, it's about signal strength, timing, and coordination. And all of that lives in the nervous system. Strength is a skill. It's a neurological ability. And like any skill, it improves with quality repetition, intention, and rest. Every time you perform a heavy lift with focus and proper form, you're engraving that neural pattern deeper into your system. You're telling your brain, this matters. Over time, those pathways get faster. They become reflexive. You don't just lift the weight, you dominate it. Not because your muscles got dramatically bigger overnight, but because your nervous system got smarter, more connected, more explosive. You don't need endless reps. You don't need endless reps. You need intentional ones. You don't need to grind your body down. You need to build your brain up. The nervous system responds to stimulus and it thrives on precision. Short, heavy sets, controlled movements, long rest periods, full recovery. All of this tells your nervous system this is high value. Adapt to this. This is why people who understand neurological training get stronger with fewer sets, fewer hours in the gym, and less risk of injury. They're not chasing soreness. They're chasing signal quality. And chasing signal quality. They're training their brain to drive power into their body. And once you grasp that strength is wired into your system, not just pumped into your muscles, everything changes. You stop overtraining. You start progressing. You unlock a level of power that most people never touch because they've been looking in the wrong place. When it comes to getting stronger, it's not about how much time you spend in the gym. It's about how effectively you're communicating with your nervous system. Strength is a neurological output first and a muscular adaptation second. That's why training for neural efficiency is the real key to unlocking maximal strength with minimal wear and tear. Low rep, high intensity protocols are the gateway to this kind of adaptation. They send a powerful signal to your brain that strength matters. Your nervous system doesn't adapt to volume it adapts to intensity. When you perform a lift at 85-95% of your 1 rep max, you're activating your highest threshold motor units, those responsible for your greatest force output. These are the units you rarely recruit during casual training or high rep sets. And the only way to consistently access them is to train with heavy loads for a few reps at a time with deliberate control and precise intent. Every time you perform a heavy single, double, or triple rep, you're sending a spike of neural activity through your spinal cord to your muscles. Sure, muscles. It's not just about moving weight, it's about improving the velocity, clarity, and synchronization of that neural signal. Think of it like sharpening the edge of a blade. You're not just building muscle, you're making the connection between your brain and your body sharper, faster, and more explosive. The key is managing volume and fatigue. The nervous system does not respond well to exhaustion. If you go too heavy for too long or pile on too many sets, you introduce neural fatigue, which blunts the very signal you're trying to enhance. That's why smart strength training is about intensity with restraint. A few perfect sets, plenty of rest between, No grinding, just clean, explosive, technically sound repetitions. This method also builds confidence under load. First, the more frequently your nervous system practices firing maximally under pressure, the more accustomed it becomes to expressing force on demand. Your body learns not just to lift heavy, but to do so with stability, efficiency, and control. That's how you become a stronger, without even adding muscle. You're not just getting better at lifting, you're getting better at recruiting strength within milliseconds of movement initiation. From a hormonal perspective, this kind of training optimizes the balance between neural excitation and recovery. You activate the sympathetic nervous system when it matters, during the lift, but you avoid staying in that stress state unnecessarily. With proper rest, breath control, and sleep, you allow your body to consolidate those neural gains, reinforcing the circuits that generate force. Over time, this leads to a measurable increase in output with far less input. This is the secret of the most efficient lifters in the world. They're not stronger because they train longer. They're stronger because their nervous system is trained for precision. They know how to fire the right muscles at the right time with the right force, and they practice that skill under the right conditions. Rest is not passive. It's not just downtime between sets. In fact, the rest interval is where the nervous system recovers, resets, and prepares to fire with maximum precision again. If your goal is to get stronger while training less, then how you rest becomes just as important as how you lift. And optimizing rest intervals is one of the most overlooked keys to unlocking greater motor neuron recruitment, the brain-to-muscle communication that drives strength. Each time you perform a near maximal lift, your central nervous system engages high-threshold motor units, muscle fibers that produce the most force but also fatigue the fastest. These motor units don't recover on your watch. They recover on theirs. If you cut your rest interval too short, you rob your nervous system of the opportunity to fully reset. The next set will be less explosive, less accurate, and less neurologically beneficial. You'll be moving weight, but with a blunted signal, low. Research shows that 3 to 5 minutes of rest between heavy sets is optimal for maximum strength gains. Why? Because it gives the motor cortex, spinal circuitry, and peripheral nervous system time to clear fatigue and restore full excitability. So, during this window, you're not just catching your breath. You're giving your brain time to reestablish the coordination required to fire a massive chain of motor neurons in a synchronized wave. This is especially true in compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, presses, where multiple muscle groups and large portions of the nervous system are involved. You're not just training a muscle group, you're training a movement pattern governed by precise neural timing. And that neural timing only improves when it's practiced under optimal conditions, clear signal, low fatigue, and intentional activation. There's also a metabolic component. Strength training with high loads depletes ATP, the energy currency of cellular activity, especially in fast-twitch fibers. These fibers can't recover their contractile potential if the rest period is too short, and without full recovery, the nervous system won't even bother recruiting them again. It'll default to lower threshold fibers, which are easier to activate but far less powerful. So rest doesn't just improve your readiness. It determines whether your body can even access the fibers that make strength gains possible. Rest is also the moment where intention and visualization become powerful tools. While your body resets, your mind can rehearse the next set. This mental rehearsal, if done with precision and focus, has been shown to activate many of the same neural circuits used in physical execution. That means you're doubling the reps neurologically without fatiguing the system physically. Over time, this leads to more efficient recruitment of motor units and faster improvement in coordination, timing, and power output. Strength is a nervous system game, and the moments between sets are where the nervous system is either enhanced or hindered. If you want to train less and gain more, your rest intervals must be treated with the same respect as your working sets. They are not a break. They are part of the work. The mind doesn't just accompany the body into training. It leads it. Long before you touch the weight, your nervous system is already preparing for the movement. And that preparation can be either accidental or intentional. Visualization and intention are two of the most potent tools for priming your nervous system for strength, and they cost nothing but focus. When you visualize a lift with precision, seeing yourself perform the movement with correct form, maximal control, and explosive power, you activate many of the same neural circuits involved in actually performing it. Truly perform. The motor cortex, premotor areas, cerebellum, and spinal neurons all engage in the mental rehearsal, creating a blueprint the body can then follow with more accuracy. In fact, research shows that mental imagery alone can increase strength output, even without physical training. That's not theory, it's neuroplasticity at work. Your brain begins adapting based on imagined effort, forming new synaptic connections that reinforce movement patterns and coordination. But visualization must be sharp. It's not vague daydreaming. You must see the barbell, feel its texture in your hand, sense the ground beneath your feet. You must imagine the moment of tension, the breath, the bracing of your core, the alignment of your joints, the force moving from your spine into your limbs. This is not meditation. It's neural programming. And the clearer your mental image, the stronger the signal your brain sends when it's time to act. Now pair that with intention. Intention is the conscious directive of your neural resources. It's what focuses your attention on what matters. Explosive drive, clean form, zero hesitation. When you lift with intention, you recruit more high-threshold motor units. Your central nervous system doesn't need to be convinced. You've already told it what's coming. The brain responds accordingly, prioritizing precision and force over automatic repetition. There is a powerful loop between the mind and muscles. What you expect, you prepare for. What you prepare for, you perform. That's why elite lifters and top-tier athletes don't just go through the motions. Before every set, they mentally align with the movement, direct their attention to key technical points, and reinforce a confident outcome. This process doesn't just improve focus, it accelerates adaptation. Over time, your nervous system begins to favor those neural pathways that were mentally rehearsed and successfully executed. It becomes more efficient, more accurate, and more powerful with less effort. It's in this intersection of mind and body that real strength is forged. You can lift more weight not because your muscles have grown overnight, but because your brain has learned to send stronger, faster, and more precise commands to those muscles. That's how you get stronger without training longer. That's how you upgrade performance without adding volume. Volume. It begins before the first rep is even attempted, with clear, focused, and intentional neural priming. Strength doesn't happen during training. It happens in recovery. The hours and days between sessions are when your nervous system rewires, your muscle fibers rebuild, and your body encodes power. But most people miss this. They think training harder is always better and that more work equals more strength. That's a lie. Strength requires readiness, and readiness is driven by recovery. The only way to optimize your gains is to monitor the systems that matter most. Your heart rate variability, your sleep architecture, and your breath control. Heart rate variability, HRV, isn't just a number on your fitness tracker. It's a window into your autonomic nervous system, the deep unconscious system that regulates stress, recovery, and performance. A high HRV means your parasympathetic or rest and recover state is dominant. That's when your body repairs, when your immune system activates, when testosterone and growth hormone do their work. A low HRV means your body is under stress. Sympathetic activity is high and recovery is stalled. Training on a low HRV day isn't brave. It's foolish. It's pushing a system that's already redlining. Tracking HRV daily gives you the power to train with precision, to back off when needed, and to go full throttle when your body is primed. Sleep is your other superpower. It's not optional. Deep sleep is when muscle tissue rebuilds, glycogen stores replenish, and the brain consolidates new motor patterns. If you're training heavy and sleeping poorly, you're trying to grow while tearing yourself down. No supplement, no technique, no shortcut. Replaces sleep. Replaces sleep. It regulates cortisol, balances dopamine, and stabilizes the systems that control strength output. Prioritize it ruthlessly. Block blue light at night. Avoid stimulants late in the day. Train your body and mind to treat sleep like the core pillar it is. Then there's breathwork. It's not just for yogis and monks. Breath is a lever you can pull anytime to shift your nervous system. Fast, shallow breathing ramps up stress and sympathetic activity. Slow, controlled exhalations increase vagal tone and engage the parasympathetic branch, accelerating recovery. A simple practice, Inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 8, repeat for 5 minutes post-workout or before bed. It will shift your physiology, calm your system, and cue your brain that it's time to rebuild. Not fight. Breath is the remote control to your autonomic state. Use it. When you begin to track these markers, HRV, sleep, breath, you stop guessing. You stop relying on outdated ideas like no pain, no gain. You start training smarter. You align your output with your body's capacity. And over time, you make more progress with less wear and tear. The nervous system becomes your ally, not your obstacle. Recovery stops being passive. It becomes strategic. And when recovery becomes a weapon, strength follows. Not just more weight on the bar, but a more resilient, more responsive, and more powerful body and mind. The nervous system doesn't respond to chaos. It thrives on repetition, rhythm, and precision. Your muscles, your hormones, your neural circuits, they all depend on consistency more than intensity, more than intent. What most people don't understand is that strength isn't built through punishment. It's built through progressive signaling. The goal is not to annihilate your body in every session. The goal is to trigger adaptation and allow recovery to do the rest. This is where the concept of the minimum effective dose becomes powerful. It's not about doing the most. It's about doing the exact amount your body needs to grow, no more, no less. When you push beyond what your body can recover from, you're not speeding up your gains. You're short-circuiting them. You elevate cortisol, you suppress testosterone, and you enter a chronic sympathetic state that makes your nervous system less responsive and more fatigued. Training stops being anabolic and starts being catabolic. You lose strength, not gain it. Your sleep suffers, your motivation dips, and your immune system weakens. But when you train at your threshold, not over it, you stay in the zone where strength increases steadily, injury risk is low, and your nervous system actually reinforces the movement patterns you're developing. Consistency is the master key because your brain wires strength through repetition. Each lift isn't just about muscle, it's about motor neurons firing in precise, coordinated ways, and that wiring only locks in through deliberate, repeatable practice. One brutally intense session means less to your nervous system than 10 moderate, focused, repeatable ones. You're not just building tissue, you're building circuitry. Circuits that stay sharp, efficient, and explosive when called upon. That's how strength is encoded long-term. The minimum effective dose is the secret weapon of elite performers. It's the reason Olympic lifters, gymnasts, and world-class athletes train with exact volume, rest, and intensity metrics. They're not guessing. They're calculating what stimulates adaptation without tipping the system into exhaustion. You don't grow during effort. You grow during recovery. But you can only recover well if your body isn't in survival mode. Minimum effective dose keeps you just under the red line, just within the zone of progress. It's sustainable, repeatable, and it respects the biological truth of how strength is created. You don't need more sets. You need more precision. You don't need longer workouts. You need better ones. Every extra rep, every extra pound, every extra session should be earned through data, not emotion. You don't train harder to feel worthy. You train smarter to become effective. The minimal effective dose frees your nervous system to fire efficiently. It maintains hormonal balance. It sharpens your skill. And over time, that consistency compounds into power most people never reach. Not because they didn't work hard, but because they never learned how to work right. The strongest athletes aren't the ones who do the most. They're the ones who do just enough. Every time, without fail, without ego, without burning out,